writing in your flexibility as superintendent for saying a few words, even if it's just.
They are voting on whether or not to ban Tony Branch
I'm a little confused about
from the graduation.
Ask the secretary if she could restate the motion.
I guess the audio wasn't working on the stream, so we'll have to stream on our own. I did record the parents' speeches. They were good.
That the school committee will not be seated on stage, to let the superintendent speak on behalf of the committee, and only the superintendent will be speaking at the moment. And then Ms. Sullivan made the amendment to.
They're voting on whether or not to ban Tony from the graduation, as they should. So we'll see what happens. This is good. This is good.
To add in the speech given to by the chair will be forfeited.
It's very quiet, so I'm going to just weigh in on this. I do not think that we can exclude the chair from speaking.
Oh, shocking, shocking,
What I will
shocking
say-
verdict.
Sir, if you disrupt this proceedings one more time, once, you're going to be gone.
Okay, okay.
What I will say is this. I actually took to heart what Steve was saying. It's Lou's last graduation. Lou, you said that if you were allowed to speak, I don't have a problem in giving my role for you to do just that. I think it's important. So for me, I mean, you all can do all these motions, but the right thing to do is the right thing to do. So for me, I think that
Step down is the right thing.
Lou,
That's the
you
right
know,
thing
you
to
could
do,
have,
is
you
to
could
step
have,
down.
Bingo. I know.
please. I think the right thing to do is for, because you mentioned this, is for Lou to have the place, and that place is the placement of the chair. I think the motion, quite frankly, Steve's motion is fine. I do not think you can make a motion to exclude the chair of a public body from speaking when it's a matter of policy. Instead of getting in a legal debate and involving Council Emerson, I think it's highly appropriate, Lou, that you take the place of that, place of the chair with respect to that. Because of COVID anyway, you're gonna be up there. And it looks like the numbers are going way up. I don't think we're gonna be handing out diplomas, but I don't know to speak on that. Are you interested, Steve, in throwing your motion?
No, I'm not.
And I would add also, I believe it's a matter of policy that diplomas are handed by school committee members.
But not for COVID.
Excuse me, not necessarily the chair, a school committee member. I don't believe it is policy under Mass General laws that a chairperson has to deliver a speech at commencement.
That's right.
Just for a matter of clarification.
So for a matter of clarification, if we're talking Massachusetts general law, then we may be in a lot more trouble tonight. I'm talking specific to the policy of our body, which has the chair speaking. And I do not believe, because it's a policy, you can overrule that because you might be uncomfortable with the chair. But I do believe there is a clear situation whereas a superintendent has been superintendent here for so long, it is his last graduation, that it is a fair appointment that he take the place of the chair to give that speech, controversy or not.
It's inherent in my motion, sir.
So with respect to your motion, and Deb, did you repeat
No
it
one
again?
wants to
Sorry.
hear a pedophile speak at graduation.
I actually said no. You're not interested in withdrawing that,
No,
correct?
may I restate my motion, just for clarification? Or is that improper parliamentary procedure?
Restate your motion.
So the amended motion on the floor is the motion from Ms. Sullivan.
Correct. Right. That's what I said.
So if Mrs. Sullivan withdrew her amendment, and my motion would stay as is, the superintendent's on stage, giving out diplomas, and the school committee's not there, and that's that. And I'll restate the motion. I think that's the essence of that is what I'm trying to basically say. Keep the school committee and anything associated with it, good or bad right now, just out of the picture unless it's like required by law. That's it. I don't want to interfere atomically with the joy of graduation and young children at the apex of their young adulthood and 𝗕𝗵𝗄𝗏 education. That's all I want to speak. Stay out of it. Well, if you'd like, I'll reread the motion if it pleases the board and maybe even the public who's probably scratching their head.
Thank you, Steve. At this point, we're at Representative Sullivan's portion of the motion. So we need to vote.
And just to be clear, as I stated, I was amending.
She's one of the good ones.
Essentially, in addition to Mr. Uden's motion, I amended based on what the principal stated, that a speech is given by the chairperson. So I amended Mr. Uden's motion to specifically address that comment, so that that was not allowed.
Again, I would urge this body that if it is our policy that the chair speaks at a commencement graduation, that policy is not going to be overruled by this body, should not be overruled by this body.
Why do you want to speak so bad?
Nonetheless, are we ready to vote on your amendment?
Oh, stop trying to avoid it.
Speak up.
I'm sorry. I'm just wondering if somebody can look up the policy to know if the policy is in there and what the policy does say.
Is there a graduation
Yeah.
policy that we can look up?
There is no graduation policy.
Ah, interesting.
Other than the school committee determined signs, as long as they've met their graduation requirements. So that's the only thing in our policy manual about graduation is they have to meet the Massachusetts requirements in order to receive.
Question.
All those in favor?
Representative Sullivan, just a clarification again. So on the amendment, please, if you don't mind. So, because Representative Uden made the first motion to have us all not on stage and have the superintendent speak. Then you made the amendment to.
I made the
This isn't brain
amendment to add
surgery.
in that the chair not be allowed to give the commencement speech. If that's something that is an item to be replaced with Mr. Ropes, that would be fine. I asked specifically to amend, to add in to Mr. Uden's motion that the chair not be allowed to give the commencement speech this year.
Right, and the chair stated that he was not going to speak, right, and give this time to the superintendent, correct?
Correct, it's a moot point if in fact Lou's giving the entire speech.
It's not.
Can I recommend that just that you check with legal counsel on the appropriateness of the amendment in the motion?
Yeah, that was my next step.
I recognize the attorney for the school committee.
Thank you very much. When it comes to the process for graduation, it is, and I don't have the policy in front of me, so you have to forgive me on that. But very often, my question that I have regarding the policy, and maybe this can be answered by the parliamentarian, is whether do you convene the school committee at graduation? Some school districts do that, whereby it would be an official school committee meeting that is then proceed, then it just proceeds with the graduation. If that were the case, then it would be the usual process would be then to have the chair participate as he would or she would as the
Why
chair.
the fuck does he want to speak
In the
at this
absence of
graduation
that,
so much?
There is no
Kinda
basis
weird.
to exclude, include. It's just, if you will, practice and procedure that you followed in the past.
So my understanding is that the graduation is not a deliberative meeting of the school committee.
That's why I'm asking the question, because I don't know what it is here. As I've said, in some, because exactly as Mr. Lopes mentioned before, they have to meet the graduation requirements. Very often there's a motion, in some places, there was a motion made that the superintendent presents, or the principal, excuse me, presents to the school committee all those who have completed all those requirements, a motion's made to confer them the diplomas. If that's not the process and procedure here, then it's not a school committee.
So it is, I'm looking at last year's, it's a posted ceremony.
Versus a school
and the
committee meeting,
confirming
you don't
action is-
usually take that motion.
The
that I-
principal confers it to the superintendent.
then it is not, as was mentioned, it is not a regular.
It's pretty simple.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other comments or discussion?
Oh,
One more.
This
So-
enabler.
Is this vote in mute? Questions?
The word is moot, not mute.
I'm not the one to judge on that. The chair has already indicated that he would not speak at the graduation.
Did he?
So the amendment.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
That's the decision of those who are participating in the vote. It's not for me to make that decision.
Thank you.
Then the vote would then go to,
He
committee member.
never said that.
His motion after following that.
This dude really wants to touch kids at
So-
graduation.
Representative Montero, I said that it is moot because Lou would be taking my place. That's what I said. So for me, it's moot, but I believe Representative Sullivan still wants a vote.
Yes.
And the parents.
Yep, we want to see where you stand.
So are we prepared to vote? All those in favor, I believe, President Sullivan.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I just wanted it to be clear so that it is on the record. Again, it was piggybacking on to Mr. Uden's motion. If it's still going to adhere to COVID protocols, quasi-semi protocols, then it was in addition to Mr. Uden's motion. So because it was not voted on and I raised it as an amendment, and I believe it is a combined motion with Mr. Uden's and my amendment. Am I correct? Ms.
It's an amendment.
Yes.
The vote is to approve as amended.
Laura, they're voting whether or not to ban him from the graduation. He really wants to speak at the graduation. A parent got
That's
it.
amended. All those in favor by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye. Okay, good. That's
All those opposed?
shame, shame,
Robin
shame, shame. Shameful.
I didn't get the numbers because I can't say.
8-2. 3? Who was the third?
The motion carries.
Yes. Tony Branch is banned from the
Thank you,
graduation.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes,
May I
thank you.
please have the student rep?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, one.
As we begin to get closer to the end as we enter the month of May, especially for the seniors at Southeastern, we have many events planned for the month of May consisting of shop pinning ceremonies to senior activities at the end of May. Our cooperative education program is currently doing great and moving expeditiously. We currently have 193 seniors out on co-op and 102 juniors out as well, accumulating to a total of 295 students out on co-op. That's
That's a
almost
small
300
win.
kids.
That's a small win.
All of our co-op students who are out
Can't force
are
this
really
step down,
presenting
but
the
you can
quality
ban
of
them from
education
shit.
and work ethic that students receive here at Southeastern, and are displaying the professionalism students at Southeastern have as well. Spring sports have been going good, especially for the track team, as the boys track and field team are currently undefeated. They have been displaying incredible work ethic at every meet and have been putting their
That's a
all.
win.
The other
He's
sports
banned.
teams are doing well as they have been
reputation's
able to display
destroyed.
their talents out on the field
He
and
shouldn't be
represent our
speaking
school.
at a graduation.
Also, our
period.
athletes will be celebrating at an athletics banquet to honor all of their
I don't know what's
achievements during
happening
the
now,
seasons.
but I think we kind of
According to
made
Ms.
our
Miller, the
point.
travel club is all booked up for
So,
the trip to
you
France
know,
this year.
we're
with
gonna
a waiting
talk
list
about
of
this
20
in the
other
live show
students.
tonight.
It's great having the travel
We'll see
club
what
back
happens.
and giving students the opportunity to learn and explore other places
I'll
in the
explain
world.
why this is a victory.
According to Ms. Guarini, our
We're
second
making
student-led
progress.
community conversations
Public
meeting went very
shaming
well.
works.
We had a
Turtleboy lives
We had a
forever.
lot of discussion
Remember that.
around deeper learning, honors,
Peace, Tyler
and rigor
Rice.
in the classroom. We talked about how rich discussion